Hi, guys, welcome back to Jesus in Mind podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about my advice for high school. And this is also coming from a Christian girl, not normal in high school, you could say. And at the end, I'm going to give you guys other people's advice that I found from people that comment on my Instagram story. So let's get on and get into it. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Jesus in Mind podcast. Okay, so my first piece of advice is don't overload yourself with work. Specifically, you need to decide in the beginning of high school, end of junior high, depending on your grades or whatever, if you care about being valedictorian or salutatorian or whatever. I personally didn't care about specifically having the title of valedictorian, but I did want to have good grades. Like, I made it my goal my freshman year to get straight A's all the way through high school. So if you have a goal like that, then yeah, like do good on your work, but that doesn't mean you have to always do the hardest work, like the like AP stuff or dual credit everything, you know what I mean? So just decide what you're capable of doing, what you're comfortable with doing, like decide what kind of college you want to go, but just decide that early on so that that's how you depend on how much work you want to overload yourself with. And especially if you're playing sports or something, you need to decide what your priority is because it's really, really, really stinking hard to do all of the above together. Okay, this next one is kind of a silly one, but it is so true. Do not walk slow in the hallways, okay? Some people have to be at the other end of the school in 4 minutes or whatever your time is. Don't walk slow in the hallways. Don't be in the way in the hallways. Like, I hate it when people stand in little groups at their lockers where you can't get around them. Like, that drives me up a wall. Do not walk slow in the hallways. Don't walk in a group where people can't get around you if they need to get somewhere quickly. And don't stop. Like if there's traffic is moving, don't just stop in front of someone because you're texting or whatever. You're going to have to learn to text and walk at the same time. My next thing is to try to be organized. Being organized can help you in so many levels, not even just with schoolwork, but with if you play sports, if you have extracurriculars like clubs that you're in, whatever. Be organized because if you're missing a day for a softball game or you're missing a game for something else, you need to be organized so that you know what you have to make up so you're not failing your classes when you get back. So just be organized, like know what you're doing when you have tests. Put my favorite thing ever is literally reminders in my phone. Like I'll just be like, oh hey Siri, and easy peasy. Like my next thing is to make Quizlets. When I tell you Quizlet is my very, very best friend, I'm not joking. It literally says under my Quizlet thing that I'm the top creator. So, applause. Make Quizlets. It's super, super easy for you to study because wherever you're at, you have your phone so you can study. Number two, you can log onto it on your Chromebooks at school or whatever you guys use at school and study in class if you can't have your phone. Number three, you can send it to all your classmates. So you're going to be everyone's favorite and they're all going to love you. My next thing is to literally just don't do something if you're not comfortable with it. If you're not comfortable with hanging out with a certain group of people and one of your friends wants you to come with, don't do it. I know that you feel like you should go with that person so that they're not by themselves and you can like protect them, but it's putting you in a worse situation. And if something were to happen, you would be there and you would be in that situation. Now, I'm not saying that if something happens with your friend and you need to go pick them up, go pick your friend up because if you can do that and go pick your friend up, be that friend that can save them. But if you do not feel comfortable with something, if you don't feel comfortable with going to a party, hanging out with a certain guy, or hanging out with a certain group of friends, or whatever, hanging out in a certain place, do not do it. You're not going to regret it. I promise. You are not going to regret doing what's best for you in order for you to stay safe because you never know what's going to happen, what kind of people are going to be there, what could go wrong. Just if you don't feel comfortable with it, if your gut tells you not to do it, then don't. My next one is to find friends that you can relate with and that are actually good friends because there's a difference from finding friends that you can relate with or you think you can or getting along with and them actually being absolutely terrible friends. So if you don't feel like your friends have your back, if you feel like you can sense that your friends have been talking about you behind your back, do not be friends with those. Do not let those people influence with you and do not be friends with people that are just going to use you or talk bad about you or whatever. If they make you feel like your worth is downgraded, that means that they are not your friend. You do not need to be friends with those people. My next one you would think is kind of a given, but it's not, or at least it wasn't for me. So, my next one is do not do people's homework for them. I've been there. I've done it. I've done people's homework for them. I've given them my whole math sheet just for them to copy off of it and not actually learn anything. And later on, when they go to college, they're probably going to fail everything and wonder why. But that's a problem for another day. But just don't do it. I don't have a problem. Like, I totally believe you should help people. Everyone can work together. I'm not saying don't help people, but just don't do it all for them because, first of all, that's making you feel like you're obligated. If you do it once and then they asked again, you're gonna feel obligated. Number two, they could get ahead of the fact that you're giving them a total reason to just be helpless and not be able to do anything for themselves. So really, you're actually helping them by not giving them all your homework. My next thing, I've said it kind of before on this podcast, but find a schedule and stick to it because you need to put time in there for God and you need to have time to get the certain things done. So make a schedule. Like I wake up every morning, 6:15. I get ready, I brush my teeth, whatever, I eat breakfast, and then I have like 20 to 30 minutes. Okay, not 30, definitely not 30, like 20, 15 to 20 minutes almost every single day to I can either study or I can read my Bible. So then after school, I can either read my Bible or go to work. I don't want to wake up at this time. Just do it. I promise it'll be so, so worth it. And when you are able to start your day off after reading the Bible, then going to school, when I tell you it changes my life, I'm not joking. Find friends that want to grow in faith with you. So I know I already talked about not having fake friends, but find friends that also are good friends and want to grow with you. They don't have to be your best friends necessarily. But I do believe that if you have a friend that is in the same place as you and wants to grow in faith and have big faith like you do, then they're going to quickly become your best friend and it's going to be easy and you're going to just really just fit in a mold with those people. And also just pray about finding friends because I promise God can do some wonders. Don't schedule classes around your friends, people. Don't do it. Don't schedule classes around your friends or your boyfriends or I don't know, whatever. Don't don't do it. Also, if you have a boyfriend or something, don't get a locker by them. And I know that might sound really awful, but you never know what's going to happen unless you people are married in high school. I'm telling you, don't do it, or at least not right next to each other, because if something happens, you're going to feel really freaking terrible every time you have to go to your locker. So just don't do that. And don't schedule all your classes around it. Schedule your classes around what you need for college, what your plan is, what your favorite subjects are. I don't care. But do it for you and not for someone. My next one is don't let people bully you out of something that you have a passion for or that you love. Okay, so story behind this is I clearly have a passion for telling people about Jesus. I started posting about Jesus, I think my freshman year. Um, yeah, I want to say my freshman year. I'm a senior this year. So it's been a few years. And let me just tell you, when I first started posting about it, people didn't say too much. There was a few like snarky comments. Like one day I had just posted something on my story and someone was like in class like really loudly. He's like, "Oh, Jesus and mine just posted, guys. Go like it." Like sarcastically. Like it they were being. But the thing is that I had already told myself before, I was like, "Do not let people bully you out of this. This is something that God has called you to do. So if you have a passion for it and you love it, do not let people target you and make you feel lesser than because you're doing something that you love." Sometimes when you're doing so much good, people start to feel bad about themselves when they know that they're doing something wrong. So just do not let people bully you out of doing what you love or doing what God has called you to do. Feel God calling you to something, please do not ignore that just because you're scared of what other people will think of you. My next one is to stand up for yourself. So let me just give you a little story time. My freshman and sophomore year, I did not stand up for myself at all. Like I said in that previous thing, people kind of made fun of me for posting about Jesus, but while I didn't let it change what I posted or whatever, it affected me. Like I felt like sad and I never said anything to anyone. And I still haven't to this day because people don't really bother me anymore about it. But like I don't say things to people often, but stand up for yourself because luckily I had a best friend that would stand up for me and she would just straight up tell people how it was. And I literally respect her so much for that and I'm so thankful for her because my freshman and sophomore year, Chasey probably would have been down in the dumps because I was just letting people say whatever to me and I was not going to say anything back to them because I wanted to be nice. But stand up for yourself. My next one is something that I've honestly learned in the past couple weeks of being a senior, and it's to not be afraid of disappointment. My whole high school career, I've been afraid to lose or do bad or whatever. Don't be afraid of disappointment because I recently just ran for class president and I never wanted to run for it the previous years because I was scared to not get it and I was scared for the disappointment of feeling like a failure. But sometimes failures are your biggest things that will build you up and you'll learn from. So just don't be afraid of disappointment. Run for that position or try that hard class. Try something new. If you've been interested in playing a new sport, do it. Don't be afraid of disappointment. You might be bad at it, but it's fine. It might grow new friends or now you know you're bad at it. Okay, my next one is starting to get a little bit deeper. So, my next piece of advice is do not hook up with him, girl. Don't hook up. Don't be in hookup cultures. He's not the one, I promise. If he only wants you because he wants to hook up with you, he is not the one. He's not the one for you. And that's just how it is, I promise, okay? If he wants to hook up with you and he can't handle being with you if you don't want to hook up, he is not the one for you. He's not the one that God has for you. Girls, don't hook up with them. I know sometimes, trust me, I know. They will make you feel totally worthless if you don't hook up with them. But you have so much more worth because of that, and you get to save that for your husband one. And let me just say that I know you'll be so tempted sometimes because sometimes when everyone else around you is hooking up with guys and whatever, it's very, very tempting. And I know that, okay? I'm a senior in high school. I know that, girl. But don't do it. Do not hook up with guys because it's going to make you feel so much more worthless after doing that. My next one goes along with the previous one, but it's don't send pics, okay? Nobody, save that for your husband too. Nobody needs to see all of you, even if it's not in person, because I know that can kind of be like transformed in people's mind into thinking, yeah, but it's not in person, they weren't touching me or something. So it's like not a sin. Nope, it still is. It's still a sin. It's still a sin against your body and it's not worth it because you never know what can happen with those pictures. Literally, no matter what, if it's deleted, not saved, double deleted, deleted out of the iCloud or whatever, there's a digital footprint. Digital footprints they can't be erased. They won't be erased. Someone somewhere could find that picture and it's just out there lingering for someone to find. So don't do it. It's not worth it, I promise. My next one is to kill people with kindness. So, what I mean by that is sometimes, let's just say I'm known as a person that's always nice, okay? Sometimes people are saying that in a rude way, but that's how it is. And honestly, I'm going to be completely frank with you guys. Sometimes a lot of people don't like me because I'm nice. Like, my positivity makes their negativeness look a little worse. But at the end of the day, when you're dying on your deathbed, you're not going to have to wish, oh man, I wish I was nicer to people so people would, come to my funeral. But not that I'm saying a lot of people are going to come to my funeral when I die one day, but what I'm saying is you're not going to regret the way that you lived life if you were always nice to people. Simply giving someone a smile, that can literally change the life of someone and you're not going to regret that. So what I'm saying is just be kind, kill people with kindness. Sometimes even the best response to someone that's being rude or negative towards you is to be. My next one is to don't be friends with mean girls, okay? Girls. There are some really mean high school girls. I'm telling you, high schoolers are really awful. They are. They're so mean. But those people are just going to make you feel worthless. And I promise you that your worth is more than that. And you matter so much more than having to hang out with those mean girls. And it's honestly just better to hang out by yourself sometimes. So just don't hang out with mean girls because you are literally worth so much more than that. My next piece of advice is that being lonely is sometimes the best thing for you, and it's gonna be okay. You're gonna find your people, and just sometimes you have to sit in a lonely state. So, I guess what I'm trying to say is that it's okay to be lonely sometimes. So, I do want to read you guys this thing that I wrote a while back, and it says, I'm more lonely now. And I know that I've thought this. I'm more lonely now that I post about Jesus. And while maybe I have lost some friends due to this, I also know that I am much better off without them. If they don't want to tell me about the boys in their lives because I'm a goody goody, then I don't need to know. Now, I know that it can feel really lonely at times when all your friends, or fake friends clearly, whisper behind your back because they know that you wouldn't approve of their decisions. But you have to remember that you are so loved and so much more by God because He takes people out of your life that are just going to make it harder. So you're so loved by God, and that's the reason He's taking those people out of your life. And that's why you feel lonely, but you don't need to. And I know it might feel super lonely for a while, but you will find your Christian friends, and I promise they will support you and love you like you deserve. My next piece of advice is to not be so hard on yourself. Take it from me, I know I'm hard on myself all the time, but you do not need to be so hard on yourself. You do not have to be perfect at all the sports you do. You do not have to get an A plus 100 on every single test, okay? Don't be so hard on yourself. I'm not saying don't push yourself because that's totally different. You need to push yourself to do hard things sometimes, but don't be hard on yourself for every little mistake that you make because you are so worthy of love. And when you are hard on yourself, that's the first thing that pulls someone down into depression. You don't have to be the smartest, the most athletic, the prettiest, the funniest to be worthy of love. God loves us all no matter what. It's a matter of loving yourself enough to be loved by others. You are worthy of a lot more than your feelings will tell you, Sadie Robertson. That is something we all need to hear. You may feel like you don't deserve anything because you're not good enough, but your feelings are wrong. We all have a purpose on this earth, and God promises us that. God didn't put you on this earth to beat yourself up all the time. Let yourself feel the love of God because you deserve it. My next piece of advice is if you know a guy is not the one, then don't lead him on. If you feel something in your heart that says, this guy is not the one, I'm not going to marry him or whatever, don't keep leading him on, honey. I know you might think that you're protecting his feelings by still being nice to him, but honestly, you need to just tell him, look, this isn't going to work out between us. I hope we can still be friends. And if he's like, okay, I understand that, perfect. But if he like keeps texting you or keeps snapping you, whatever, you might just have to unadd him. I know that might sound cruel, but unadding him will honestly be the best for him so that he can find the one that actually is the one. Because if you know in your heart he's not, he's probably. My next piece of advice is that your circle does not have to be huge, it just needs to be meaningful. And what I mean by that is that you don't have to have the biggest friend group or the most friends or whatever. You need to have a meaningful one friend. One friend is fine. One friend is suitable. If God has one friend that's absolutely perfect for you, take that instead of the group of mean girls. I know it might not be the way to be popular or win homecoming queen or whatever, but that's okay. You don't need to be, I promise. Just be yourself and find friends that are actually meaningful for you and not gonna drag you down. My next piece of advice isn't just for high school kids, but I got this piece of advice like my sophomore year or freshman year, and it literally changed my life. And my piece of advice is read your Bible, study your Bible. Don't just read it, but like get into it. Study that Bible because you'll be surprised how many lessons you can learn for high school in your Bible. It's literally the best book ever. It's going to change your life, I promise. My next piece of advice is not really advice, but I just want to say that these probably won't be the best years of your life, and that's okay. It's okay if these are not your years of thriving or feeling like Little Miss Popular or whatever. These might not be the best years of your life, and that's fine. It might be absolutely hell for you. And that's okay because these don't have to be the best years of your life. You can grow and go to college and have the best years of your life. Or maybe when you become a mother, that's going to be the best years of your life. Just, I know people say that all the time. Oh, enjoy high school. It's the best years of your life. No, that's people that still live through their kids till this day. Don't put all the pressure on living your best years in high school because it doesn't have to be your best years. My next piece of advice is I can change him should never come out of your mouth. No, you can't change him, honey. Only God can change him. And maybe you can plant that seed for God to change him, but do not get with someone and think, oh, I can change him. They won't influence me. No, they will influence you. I've been in that situation. Okay, I thought someone that I could date could be someone that didn't even go to church, had never gone to church. I think I helped them get closer to God and understand God, but that did not need to be my boyfriend. It did not. It just didn't. So just never, ever, ever say those words. I can change him. No, don't. I promise you can't. And it's not something that needs to be done through a like intimate relationship, okay? Just don't say those words. My next piece of advice is don't gossip. I know. I know. It's so hard. It's still hard for me to this day. It's hard for me right now. I don't care. Unless someone is like really bullying someone or whatever. Like I don't need to hear the secondhand drama. I don't need to be a part of the secondhand drama. I don't want to. I don't care about your drama and I don't care to know about your drama. Stay out of drama because you're going to regret being in the drama because it'll come back on you. It always will. So stay out of the drama. I'm going to read you guys a little thing that goes along with that drama. What's the tea? Those are words I know you have heard and probably said. And if you don't know what that means, it means what's the drama? So, is it okay to be in drama and spread rumors about things that you shouldn't have anything to do with, that don't have anything to do with you? No, no, it is not. God wants us to build each other up. He wants us to pick up each other when we are going through the hard times or getting drama told about us it's not true or not tearing each other down because we're weak. Now, if you are the person that's getting talked about, stick with me. Try to let the rumors and lies go in one ear and out the other. It doesn't matter to me or it doesn't matter to you because you are strong and you have God. The people who are making up lies about you, they are the weak ones, okay? So, who cares about the people who are saying these things or you have a way, way better army than they do. You have God, the God Almighty behind your back. So just trust God because I promise everything's gonna be fine. And yeah, just don't want to hear about the tea. Don't listen to the drama. Stay out of it, honey, because it's gonna make you worse and a worse person, honestly. So yeah, stay out of the drama. It'll be okay. My next thing is to be sober minded. And what I mean by that is low key, just be sober. And I know some people might think, oh, I can drink a beer and I can be fine. Nope. No, you can't. You're still intoxicated. I don't care if you think you can drive. I don't care if you can walk in a straight line. I don't care if you can take a sobriety test and pass it. You're not sober minded. If you are doing something, let me just say, if you are doing something If you're at a party, you're drinking, you're being intimate with someone, can you pray during those moments? Like, could you pray to God in those moments? Like, if you are in a situation where you don't feel like you could sit down and pray to God right then, that means it's wrong. That means you're doing something wrong. So be sober minded. Don't make decisions drunk. Personally, I don't even really think that high schoolers should be drinking. And I know, wow, I'm a terrible person. I'm no fun. I'm boring. I know. I know. But there's no reason you can have the most fun of your life. You can live the best years of your life without being drunk every weekend, or without ever getting drunk, or without even ever drinking. I tell you, it is so tempting. It's tempting to me till this day, okay? Everyone is drinking. All of my friends are drinking. Everyone in my class is drinking. Everyone in my school is drinking. But it's not worth it. And I know that, and I don't want to drink, and I don't feel the urge to drink. And honestly, people don't even invite me to parties anymore because they know that I don't want to drink. A little something on here that kind of goes along with what I just said, and the title is "You Don't Have to Party to Be Cool. You Don't Have to Party to Be Loved." I'm not talking about having a sweet little birthday party. I'm talking about those not so sweet ones. The parties where everyone makes bad decisions. It's hard when you're the oddball out. Trust me, I know. But make it the new normal. Teach others about the reasons you're not partying. It truly, truly might save and change someone's life. You could save a life by encouraging them to not drink. You could literally save their lives. You never know who's going to try to drive home drunk. You never know what's going to happen to them while they're drunk. Some people don't even know it, but they have like diseases when they drink, or something in their brain is going wrong, and that's going to affect them 30 years down the road. You could literally save someone's life by encouraging them not to drink and not to do those bad things that you know are wrong, and you need to tell them why you think they're wrong. My last, but certainly not least, is do not stress about the future. God's got your back. God has a plan, and whatever that is, He's going to put it in your heart. You're going to figure it out. And I promise, God's plan is better, way better than anything you can even put into your mind. So, for us, I actually had an FCA sermon about this last year, so I'm going to go ahead and just read you guys what I read to them. So, the title was The Future. Job 22:28 says, "You will succeed in whatever you choose to do, and light will shine on the road ahead of you." This is saying that you will go through hardships, but with God, He promises us to have a path specifically designed for us. Many people struggle with the unknowns of the future, especially right now in high school. Suddenly, we have people asking us what we want to be when we grow up. But now your answer actually matters. We can no longer say we want to be princesses or superheroes. We have to come up with a real future. So, are you struggling with what your answer is, or with the question itself? Or maybe you have answered that question, but you're scared that you answered it wrong. Well, God's path for us doesn't work that way. You don't just choose the wrong answer. In the verse that we just heard, God is promising us that as long as we declare that He is our God, then He promises to help us succeed in whatever we choose to do. Now, God never said it would be easy. For the months before God made this promise to Job, Job had lost literally everything. And Job almost gave up on God. But the key is to not give up on God, just because life gets hard. So, go live your life for God and trust in Him, and that will help you succeed in whatever you choose to do. And that's all I have for you guys. But now I'm going to read other things that you guys gave me on Instagram. Hi guys, it's a day later, but I wanted to read all of the Instagram responses because we had some really, really good ones. So I'm just going to read you guys most of the Instagram responses that I got because I love them all. The first one is, when things get stressful and hard, just pray. That's literally so good advice, even just out of school, but just pray. Like, Pray when things are good too. Pray when things are bad. Pray when things are hard and stressful. Just pray because I promise God can do wonders. The next one is don't take AP Bio and pray a lot. A lot is in all caps. So AP Bio apparently is awful. Never taken it, but I have heard that it's not very good. And just pray a lot. So that goes along with the other one, but just pray. Honestly, that's like the best piece of advice ever. The next one is take in every single moment and don't wish it away because it flies by so fast and you will miss it so much. That's really good advice because I am a senior and it's like really, really crazy and kind of blows my mind. The next one is step out of that comfort zone. There's no reason to be afraid to shine your light. Be different. That's really, really good advice. And that kind of goes along with what I said earlier about don't be afraid of failure. Like, run for that stuff. Be the person talking about Jesus. Be the kind person. Be different. That's so important because everyone's their own person, and it's better you learn that in high school than later on in the real world. So, learn that in high school. Be the different kid in high school. You don't have to be like all the other mean girls or whatever. You don't have to fit in. That's a good one. Um, the next one is look to mentors and stand on faith. That's really really good advice because I think that's really good advice to just look to mentors, like find people that have more experience than you that can help you. The next one is don't rush it too much. You think it goes by slow, but then you blink and it's your senior year. So that's kind of what I just said. Like every day is so long and like it's Monday and I don't want to go to school right now, but I know that this week will fly by when I look back at it and it's almost graduation. So the next one is please do not stop in the middle of the hallway and have a yap session. Not good. I already talked about that, but yeah, just don't stop in the middle of the hallway just because you're talking to your friends. It's really 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 annoying. The next one is you don't need a whole bunch of friends, just keep a few ones around. That's really good advice. Like I said earlier, you don't need a whole big group of bad friends. Just find a few good ones. And once you have a few good friends, then that's really all you need. There's no reason to go to parties and hanging out with those mean girls for no reason. Like, just hang out with the friends that you love and friends that you need. And that's really all you need. And at the end of the day, you're not going to regret not going to those parties because you're going to look back and be like, man, I made some good decisions in my day. And I can say that like confidently. The next one is do not let it become a mental stressor. So that is so good because sometimes, like, I do it literally all the time. I have a test today, and I've actually done a good job for the first time this year not stressing about this specific test. It's literally just a little vocab test, but like, I have stressed about every other test so far, and I just need to stop and not let it become a mental stressor. Be yourself and don't give two craps what other people think. That one's really good, and I like the don't give two craps because that's such good advice. Like, just be yourself. That's another one. Don't be afraid of failure. Don't let people bully you out of what you love. And yeah, just don't. It doesn't matter what other people thinks. At the end of the day, it's what God thinks of you, not what the world thinks. And there's two left. It's don't try to change yourself to fit in. So that is super good advice, and I think I kind of touched on that earlier, but yeah, just don't change yourself to try to fit in with those mean girls. Be yourself, be you, be who you're called to be, and be who God made you to be. Don't change yourself to fit in. Don't lie about things so that you fit in with the other girls. Don't have a bunch of different stories because then people are going to figure out, like, oh, she's lying about everything. So just don't. Like, be yourself so that, like, you can find people that you fit in with better when you're being yourself. And the last but definitely not least, this one's super, super good. It says, to not let wanting to be cool affect you and who you are and where your journey is with Jesus. So that is super, super good. So it's pretty much just saying don't try to like be like, don't let the jealousy of wanting to be in the like cool group or be a cool kid or whatever affect where you're at with your journey with Jesus. So focus on your journey with Jesus first and the rest will come after. Thank you guys so much for watching. That's all I have for today. But don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the bell so you get a notification when I post next time. And also follow my Instagram and TikTok, both under Jesus in Mind 00. Thank you guys so much, and I hope this helped. Feel free to DM, comment down below if you have any more questions or things that you want to talk about. Thank you guys so much. Bye.